What's up? Hey, hello, everyone. Wow. So, Alyssa and I are back going to be talking about Survivor Season 35, Heroes versus Healers versus Hustlers, Episode 3, right before the tribe swap that's happening next week. And I think, overall, as an episode, I don't know, I felt like it was super cringy, but it had a good boot that I wasn't really expecting. So, my name is Rachel.
And I'm Alyssa, and fun fact for y'all, I didn't actually watch this episode until earlier today, just because of a series of coincidences that led to me not being able to watch any television whatsoever. So I watched this episode today, and I already knew who got booted, obviously, because I can't stay spoiler free for that long. So I didn't think the boot was that surprising, but I'm also super biased. So yeah.
Yeah, I was messaging Alyssa during the show because when I was watching West Coast time, and I made all my comments very vague because I wasn't sure if she had watched it already. And usually whenever I message her, I'm like, oh my god, so and so got voted out, blah blah blah, and then I usually spoil it for her. So I'm glad I kept everything big. I was like, why is Ryan talking so much, kind of thing. So I'm glad, but yeah, I didn't think. I mean, before the preseason, I thought Patrick would go far in the game. So having him going home third and Lauren staying, because I know for me, I definitely thought Lauren would be the second boot out of the Hustlers tribe. So I thought it was good that it's split up and it's not an older woman going home kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it's also good just because Rachel and I were talking about articles that had stats about women of color and just women in general going home in Survivor and how they go home disproportionately sooner than men. So it was kind of nice that a strong male went home before an equally strong woman.
Yeah, and I mean, if you guys ever want to hear us talk about that, I thought the article I sent Alyssa the other day was super interesting, and it basically talked about statistics of people when they typically go home on Survivor, that kind of thing. So I guess we can get started with the top of the episode. This was also the preview on YouTube for the episode for the upcoming week. It was basically a short little scene of the Hustlers tribe coming back, and they were all wearing Simone's clothes, trying it on, and it was sort of interesting. We've never really seen this kind of stuff after a vote out before, which was sort of interesting. But then it's it was sort of cringy for me. I sort of felt it's stealing or wearing a dead person's clothing. It's just something you don't, I don't know. It just made me uncomfortable.
I feel it's one of those things where it's it could have been funny if they weren't so disrespectful about it. Ryan was oh yeah, this is the first time Simone's ever been useful, and I was yeesh.
Yeah, see, that was my problem. I feel Ryan, he tries so hard for screen time, literally, Alyssa said, this is finally Simone is showing her worth in some capacity. That's just so freaking rude to say, and oh, sure, she's not here anymore, but still, you're on a TV show, and to say that about another person, that's sort of rude. And I feel Ryan, in everything he says, it's basically a teen novel. He's trying to have those one-liner marks to get him the airtime, and I don't even know, because he is has a lot of power on the Hustlers tribe too, which is interesting.
I feel I would like him better as a character if it was one thing or the other. If he was either a major player on the Hustlers tribe or he had all these snappy one-liners, because I feel he has a disproportionate amount of screen time since he has both.
Yeah, and it was also interesting, I feel during this time. I mean, Patrick sort of started all of Patrick's screen time basically was him being annoying. In the water scene, he was oh, it's an octopus, blah blah blah, and then all of his tribe mates were no, it's a rock, and then he's oh, are you guys stupid, kind of thing. And I'm just that's so rude. It's a turn off kind of thing. I would never say that out loud to people, I feel so. That was also weird.
I think it's also just weird because, I feel there could have been a way for him to actually make that funny, but It just wasn't.
Yeah, it's like too many people trying to be like big characters on the show, or like trying to get screen time, trying to act, I guess, maybe more like outgoing or more crazy than they are. But like, I don't know, I feel like that's hard to put up with if and I mean, if it's your personality, like great, that's fine. And but like, I don't know, it's just hard when you're stuck with people like 24/7 and they're sort of annoying.
I feel like any personality can get annoying after like however many days straight of it. Like most of my friends, I only see like an hour a day tops. So it's like, you know, you can get some space from them and you can be like, okay, stand in your corner so I can like stop being annoyed with you. But you can't really do that on Survivor because you're always around them.
Yeah, so I guess going on to the Heroes tribe, we see a lot of like tribe dynamics in these recent episodes because they aren't having like a separate reward challenge yet. So we're getting a lot of like, oh, what's happening at the tribes, that kind of thing. And I think the Heroes tribe, for me personally, definitely has the most interesting tribe dynamics. Like, this is the tribe that I want to see get the most screen time. Like, healers and hustlers are just sort of cringy and stuff like that. But I think Heroes, I don't know. I thought it was really interesting hearing Ben's analysis of like who to vote off, JP versus Alan. And yeah.
I agree that they have the most interesting tribe dynamics, but I feel like if they ever were to actually go to tribal, that would change. Just because, like, it's so interesting just because there's so many different ways that their tribe could go as far as who to vote off. And I feel like as soon as they made a decision like, oh, we're going to vote off this person, then the tribe would automatically be less interesting because it would be less dynamic.
Yeah, that could be true too. I mean, we also see like during this time these like, it's sort of like the Simone scene, I feel like, where Alan can't cut coconuts, but he's in like the NFL, and I was sort of scared like he was gonna chop off his finger during this time because he was just going at it with the machete. It was sort of like, oh, I was scared to watch, I guess.
I was just like, how can a guy that big not just like swing it and hit it in one? Like, he could probably rip open a coconut with his bare hands if he like really tried.
Yeah, like, I don't know. And like, this episode was basically like Showmance Mania. We see JP and Ashley, or Ashley basically having a thing for JP. We don't really hear JP's side of it, and I'm just like, no, I don't want to see this. Like, even with the Jessica and Cole thing, I'm like, no. And just during this Heroes Tribe time, like, we see so many crotch and booty shots of everyone. I'm like, what are these camera people doing, first of all? And like, basically, Ashley wants to be like power couple or keep JP around because he's hot and he's bringing in food.
I just like, there were so many double entendres in what she said, and I was like, I want to like curl up in a hole and die. Like, I'm sure that part of that was selective editing, but like, man, oh man, I like Jessica and Cole's Showmance better because it's just like, it's so innocent and pure, and then it's just like Ashley and JP. It's like, ugh, ugh.
No, that's exactly like what I wrote in my notes, Alyssa, for like healers. I wrote Jessica and Cole like no, but then I mean I wrote like, oh, I guess it's cute. It seems very wholesome, which is cute. Like the way they talk about each other is like you said, like very pure. He's like, oh, she's my dream girl, and Jessica is like all like happy and giddy whenever like she thinks about him, kind of thing. And I think it was very good that we finally heard Jessica talk, because I felt like last episode we only heard about Jessica through Cole's like point of view, and we still haven't seen like anything of like Desi and Rourke on the Healers tribe, and Mike didn't have like any screen time this episode either.
I think Desi got a confessional this episode about Joe and how much of a turd munch he was, but like
About the food though, yeah.
Like
Yeah, about the food. So nothing really strategic.
But I mean, that's still better than nothing, at least as far as like getting confessionals, because I still don't think Rourke has had like a single confessional all season.
Yeah.
Like, I can't remember her. Yeah.
One is better than none, I guess. But yeah, Cole tells Jessica about Joe's idol, which we'll see, I guess. Like, I don't know. So, like, Cole tells Jessica, Desi, and Rourke about this idol. And then I really agree with Jessica in her confessional. I think it's too soon for Cole to be telling everyone that Joe has an idol because, like, you never know, like, what's going to happen. Like, you didn't know you were losing the challenge, that kind of thing. And now, like, 4 people know, and you're going into a tribe swap with that.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those things where you don't want to tell people until it becomes necessary to tell them. And it wasn't necessary. And it didn't really gain Cole anything because it's not like Desi and Rourke are like automatically indebted to him now. And like, I feel like he could have definitely done better with it as far as when to use the information. So.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I mean, they were all thinking of the plan, like, let's split votes between Joe and Mike. Let's blindside Joe this time because he's so steadfast on getting Mike out. But I feel like you should at least wait until you lose the challenge before, like, doing something like that because now you're going, like, I seriously thought maybe healers would throw the immunity challenge because they were setting up this thing like, oh, the healers want to blindside Joe so bad, let's throw the immunity challenge and get Joe out. So I'm really glad that they didn't throw the challenge to do that. And I don't know, I feel like you don't want Joe to find out that, like, oh, you know, he has the idol and Cole's a blabbermouth, because now, like, he's gonna try to get you out, or he can use the idol to vote you out, especially with this tribe swap. Like, it's not gonna end well.
Yeah, I feel like, again, there was no real reason to do it. Just because, like, it's good to have vague ideas of who you might want to vote out, but, like, having a solid plan like that, I feel like never works out well. And, like, throwing challenges never works out well. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was, like, very glad like, that didn't happen because that would have made the episode, like, so much more cringy and stuff like that. So, like, I don't know. I think bad timing. I think it will bite Cole in the ass, or Jessica will go home because of Cole telling people Joe has the idol, and Joe will, like, oh, like, I want to keep Cole around, but let's take out his right-hand girl, and then Jessica will be, like, screwed over in the end.
Kind of like what happened with Figgy and Taylor, where Figgy was voted out to get to Taylor. But, like,
yeah, it's like, it's always like the female that goes home, and like a male female, like power couple or duo, they always take out the girl in order to, like, get to the guy. So same thing happened in the season when Coach and Ozzy came back, like, first time Cochran played, that kind of thing. Like, they always get the girl before the guy. So we'll see. I think, like, the edit and, like, that kind of thing could set up well for, like, a Jessica falls before Cole kind of thing, because she's always saying, like, oh, like, I hope we have so much more time together. Like, I can't wait to get to know him better kind of thing.
I think that it might actually, like, do the opposite, where it's like Jessica's shown as the one who, like, understands the game more, and like, she realizes that Cole's making, like, strategic mistakes and stuff, and, like, if Cole gets voted out, then they also won't have time together.
Yeah, so it could be either way, I think, but, like, it would be interesting because I feel like we've said, like, the girl is usually the one that gets targeted first, and I feel like because, I don't know, I feel like the big dudes and, like, the other tribes with the tribe swap happening, they'll want to go to Cole over, like, someone wanting to work with, like, the females, which is, like, really bad because I feel like all, like, the hot guys, like Devin and them, would want to go to, like, Cole or JP over, like, Ashley or Jessica kind of thing, which is, like, bad to say, but I think, like, the big guys will want to work together, and then they'll, like, fuck everyone else over.
Yeah, I feel like this season so far hasn't shown to be one of like great tactical maneuvering, so
Yeah, so it seems like guys will stick to guys, girls will stick to girls. We'll have these showmances in there, be super annoying. People will look for idols, like we saw in the Hustlers tribe. Patrick was looking for this idol, and while like that's happening, Ryan is getting the confessional about Patrick looking for the idol, and I'm like, Ryan gets all of this damn screen time. Like, why doesn't Devin get a confessional or Lauren get a confessional? But we literally, this whole tribe is basically talk through the point of Ryan's like point of view, which is really annoying. And like with this, I'm glad that we see Ally telling Patrick that he needs to chill, because I think that's true. But basically everything else we hear is like Ryan time.
yeah, I dislike it because like I feel like Survivor has this habit of like choosing one person to kind of latch onto, and instead of it being Survivor, it's like the Ryan show. Or like when Cochran was there, it was the Cochran show.
Yeah, when Cochran wasn't even on the season, it was the Cochran show. God damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Immunity Challenge, there wasn't really any strategy involved. It was basically a physical challenge, run around, stack some things. And Patrick, he didn't want to switch out with Lauren or anything like that. And I think it's like super interesting to note that the healers were in last yet again, and then they like magically catch up, and they were technically first if they didn't miss that last block. So I think it like goes to show like Healer's Tribe like is the most physical, because they were technically first in every single like immunity challenge thus far. And yeah, I was afraid healers would throw the challenge, but I'm glad that didn't happen.
I thought it was really interesting just because they have a lot of block stacking challenges where you have to like stack blocks one on top of the other. And like I wonder what would happen if like you didn't have to stack the blocks in one straight vertical column, like if people would actually like stack them in a different way, or if they would just assume that it needed to be in one column and make life a lot harder for themselves.
True, stack them all like horizontally on the floor.
Like a pyramid shape.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Then you wouldn't need to like stand on the people's back and like touch them.
Yeah, I feel like part of the reason the Hustlers didn't do very well is because like they couldn't hoist Ryan up, which I think is so stupid because he says himself he weighs like 130 pounds soaking wet. Like he shouldn't be that easy or that difficult to lift.
Yeah, you know, maybe Ryan's lying because he has all these one-liners, but it like, nah. And like even at Tribal Council when Jeff was like, oh, Ryan, it's like kind of like when you're in a relationship. I'm like, this is honestly the worst freaking thing on TV right now. Of course, Jeff Probst asks Ryan about the relationship when you damn well know that Ryan hasn't been in a relationship, because he probably freaking said that a million times on like his Survivor application and in every interview as like, oh, like I'm quirky. Like, it was so annoying. I could not deal with it.
Yeah, I feel like it gets to a point sometimes where like Jeff purposely like set up situations for contestants to be quirky, which is like good, I guess, but also kind of annoying. But
Yeah.
the healers forgot their one block in the immunity challenge, and that spelled doom. Not actually. They just got in second place instead of first.
Yep, which spelled doom for the Hustlers tribe, who are headed back to Tribal Council. And I think, like, just in general about, like, the before Tribal and Tribal sequence, I think it was very interesting because everyone was super good at playing Patrick, you know, making him feel safe, I think, because at the vote out, like, I definitely wasn't expecting Patrick to go home over Lauren, because I was like, oh, like, older woman kind of thing, like, they would vote Lauren out. So I was like I was happily surprised that Patrick was the one to go home.
Yeah, so was I. And I feel like it makes more sense for Patrick to go home because like the personality that he's established to have. But like Lauren wasn't exactly like a shining example of amazingness in this episode. Like I feel like she's definitely not being given a winner edit insofar as like she's shown as being very blunt, kind of rough around the edges and stuff like that. Like when Patrick is like, I'm sorry for not switching out, she's like, you can't excuse it. And it's like, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, the Patrick Lauren water scene was just also sort of like, because, you know, when you ask someone, like when you two are on the chopping block and like the person can't say another name of like who to go home, like obviously, like you're not super dumb. Like it's going to be like, if I'm asking Alyssa like who's going home and she can't give me another name, then like I know like it's fucking me, right? Like if you can't have any other thing, because he's not gonna throw someone else under the bus, like, oh, like blah blah blah. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. Lauren is like, I never believed a redhead a day in my life. I was like, is that a little problematic? Like hairist, but like I don't know, you're judging him based on his hair color? That's like not good stereotyping.
I mean, I feel like there is a lot of stereotypes about like, oh, redheads have no soul. I feel like there's definitely a more delicate way to put that, but like Lauren doesn't seem to be a very delicate person, so.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they were like, oh, somebody will be blindsided at this tribal council. Patrick was very angry after he got voted out. But I think just in general, I was very glad that Allie was able to vote out the person that she knew, since she knew Patrick from before the game. I'm really glad that she was able to like look past the whole like, because I knew you before the game, like we trust each other and like we can work together, and know like when like have someone there because you knew them before the show. So I think it's good that she was able to look past that. And I think Allie voting Patrick out will be good for Allie's game, because now she doesn't sort of have that like liability of like Patrick being crazy and like brushing people the wrong way. But like Patrick in his post-game interviews say that apparently Allie tells everyone after Patrick gets voted out that she knew him before the game. And I feel like she should have just kept that a secret, honestly, because telling people after the fact, then I feel like they're going to think you're a little schemy, because like you didn't tell them for the first 9 days.
I feel like it's one of those things where it's like, at least she told us now, maybe. And I think it would have been a lot worse for her if it had somehow come out a different way. Like, if she had, like, mentioned her alma mater happened to be the same one as Patrick's or something, so.
Yeah, I guess it depends, like, how careful, how safe you are with your lies, you know? Because, like, technically you can get caught in any lie, but if you're really good, maybe you won't get caught and everything will be good. So, I mean, it's, like, very interesting, I think. And, yeah.
Yeah. I think that it's also interesting just because Patrick's reaction was, like, so emotional. Like, he was like, I hope none of y'all do well because you're all liars or something.
Oh yeah, see, like he was very emotional and angry right after the show. But I think like in his actual post game like stuff like happening now or whatever, like he's like, oh, like, you know, I was super angry, but I actually like hope they do fine. So I feel like it's like in the heat of the moment, like I would be freaking pissed, you know, being voted out third when like everyone wants to go far in the game. So like to be voted out third, that must be like a hard blow.
Yeah, I feel like it must be difficult, but at the same time, it's like no need to burn bridges, you know?
Yeah, but it doesn't technically matter because he didn't say it to their face. So next time we will see the tribe swap, which is like weird because isn't it? They're like at 15 people right now. So if it goes to 2, it'd be like 7-7, and then one person's like the odd one out, exiled, whatever happens, or it could be switching into 5-5-5.
They could do like a tribe mix type thing where like they keep the 3 original tribes and then just mix up who's on who. But I feel like that's not like a really smart thing to do. I don't know.
Yeah, especially if it's only 555. That's not much of a changing, I feel like, to like switch things up before the merge. That'll happen in a few episodes.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so I think that wraps up our episode 3 recap. I mean, it's sort of bland because we're only just seeing a lot of like setup, I feel like, for something big that's to come. In the preview for next episode, they're like blindside at tribal council, something you won't want to miss kind of thing. So kind of thing. So I think like all of this setup in like last episode and this episode hopefully is leading to like a great episode next week, because these past episodes have been sort of like flatlining because it's all just like, oh, like we're having fun on the beach, like, oh, we're setting up relationships, like that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm hoping that the next episode will kind of be the like start of the actual difficult social game, and like where people are actually strategizing as opposed to just like around. So
Yeah, so we'll see you guys next week. So great. I love school.
I
Yay.
hate school.
Okay, so we'll see you guys next week. As always, we love doing this, and we hope you have a great week.
Okay, we'll see you guys next week. If you have anything else that you think we forgot to mention it, put in the comments below, and we'll probably respond to your comment saying sorry, or something else that's probably more insightful. But we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.